Kind of like a wheeze, if I'm being real.
Is it?
Yeah, I'm just kind of like... I can't even do it now.
Can't. All right, well, we're live.
Okay.
Welcome to HolyMoly.
Holy moly, as they say.
Yes. Episode 8. Elizabeth's looking extra Caucasian today.
I've been tanning, and he's just mad that I'm getting tanner than him.
So she says, my Hinge description was long, tan, and handsome, and I uphold that. So,
let us know in the comments who's tanner. I'm gonna let you in on my arms right here.
blowing out the exposure on them right there. Yeah.
Well, that's not an accurate depiction of really what is. You see this?
Oh, look at look at those forearm veins. Yeah, we getting it. You know I'd be using these forearms.
Okay, this is
flexing. Start posing real quick. Front double bicep, go.
That way. Oh, okay.
Anyway, back to Genesis. We're cutting through it. We're already like a quarter of the way through. Well,
looking at that today,
or half.
It's like there's only like 40 chapters.
Yeah.
Almost done.
So
15 a week.
Last week we did chapter 24. Would you like to run us through a recap, Miss Prepared?
Yes. So, last week we were talking about chapter 24. We knew that Abraham was urgent to find Isaac a wife, but specifically not among the women of Canaan, but of his own people back in Mesopotamia, and his trusted servant was sent to accomplish the mission with the help of the Lord. He returned with Rebekah, who actually turned out to be the granddaughter of Abraham's brother, Nahor. So it all worked out almost too perfectly, almost too good to be true, but...
Kept it in the family.
Yep.
As
they do.
Yeah, and this all got kind of spurred of the moment. I think we kind of settled on since whatever her name was died. Abraham, since Sarah died. Yeah, I mean, she's way back there. Who remembers her? Yeah. He was starting to get worried about his lineage being carried on the proper way, because God had promised him that Isaac would be the lineage of, many great nations from his seed.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of what we saw him trying to be prepared for in that pretty solid chapter. A little long, a lot of repetition in that one. But if you want our in-depth opinion, go back and watch episode 7 last week. Yeah.
Yeah, you little cheats. You can't just listen to chapter 25 and not listen to 24, 23, 22, 21, and 20.
19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13.
Those were before the YouTube channel, but...
I don't remember when we started.
Read them.
Yeah. So now we're on chapter 25.
Woo!
So Elizabeth, would you like to kick us off and read as we're continuing?
Joseph, I would love. Okay. So, chapter 25. Abraham and Keturah. So, Abraham again took a wife, and her name was Keturah, and she bore him Zimran, Jokshan, Medan, Midian, Ishbak, and Shaw. Jokshan begot Sheba and Dedan, and the sons of Dedan were Asherim, Letujim, and Lumim, and sons of Midian were Ephah, Epher, Hanok, Abida, and Eldah. All these were the children of Keturah. And Abraham gave all that he had to Isaac, but Abraham gave gifts to the sons of the concubine which Abraham had, and while he was still living he sent them eastward, away from Isaac his son, to the country of the east. This is the sum of the years of Abraham's life which he lived, 175 years. Then Abraham breathed his last and died in a good old age, an old man full of years, and was gathered to his people, and his sons Isaac and Ishmael buried him in the cave of Machpelah, which is before Mamre, in the field of Ephron, the son of Zohar and Hittite, the field which Abraham purchased from the sons of Heth, There Abraham was buried, and Sarah his wife, and it came to pass after the death of Abraham that God blessed his son Isaac. Isaac dwelt at Beer Lahai Roi. Now this is the genealogy of Ishmael, Abraham's son, who Hagar, an Egyptian Sarah's maidservant, bore to Abraham. And these were the names of the sons of Ishmael by their names according to the generations. The firstborn of Ishmael, Nebajoth, then Kedar, Adbeel, Mibsam, Mishma, Duma, Massa, Hadar, Tema, Jetur, Naphish, and Kedema. Mouthful. These were the sons. Imagine calling all of them at once. Come down.
Nebajoth, Kedar, Abdil, Mitzvah, whoever you are. Yeah.
These were the sons of Ishmael, and these were their names by their towns and their settlements. 12 princes according to their nations. These were the years of the life of Ishmael, 137 years. And he breathed his last and died, was gathered to his people. They dwelt from Havilah as far as Shur, which is east of Egypt, as you go toward Assyria. He died in the presence of all his brethren. This is the genealogy of Isaac, Abraham's son. Abraham begot Isaac. Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah as wife, the daughter of Bethuel, the Syrian of Padam Aram, the sister of Laban, the Syrian. Now Isaac pleaded with the Lord for his wife because she was barren. And the Lord granted his plea, and Rebekah his wife conceived. But the children struggled together within her. She said, "If all is well, why am I like this?" So she went in to inquire of the Lord, and the Lord said to her, 2 nations are in your womb. 2 people shall be separated from your body. Probably like, what? 1 people shall be stronger than the other, and the other shall serve the younger. So when her days were fulfilled for her to give birth, indeed were twins in her womb. And the first came out red, he was like a hairy garment all over, so they called his name Esau, I think. Afterward his brother came out, and his hand took hold of Esau's heel, so his name was called Jacob. Isaac was 60 years old when she bore them. So the boys grew, and Esau was a skillful hunter, man of the field, but Jacob was a mild man, dwelling in tents. And Isaac loved Esau because he ate of his game, but Rebekah loved Jacob. Now Jacob cooked a stew, and Esau came in from the field, and he was weary. Esau said to Jacob, "Please feed me with some of that red stew, for I am weary." Therefore his name was called Edom. But Jacob said, "Sell me your birthright as of this day." And Esau said, "Look, I am about to die, so what is this birthright to me?" Then Jacob said, "Swear to me as of this day." So he swore to him, and sold his birthright to Jacob. Jacob gave Esau bread and stew of lentils, and he ate and drank, arose, and went his way. Thus Esau despised his birthright.
Okay. I have many questions.
Me too.
That there are a handful of things I did not understand, but we can run it from the top. Holy Spirit, please help us understand and give us the wisdom to discern meaning from this. Amen.
Amen.
So, Abraham, my man. Sarah wasn't going none but a couple days, it seems. One chapter later.
Do you know what's so crazy though?
What?
Is that I was reading that he might have been with her like before Sarah even died. That she's a concubine.
You think that was crazy?
No, not crazy, but it's like I think like before, like while she was kicking it, like he was getting it.
Oh, for sure. Well, I don't know. What was the difference between Abraham and Sarah's age? They were, about the same age, right? Or was he much older than her? I think it was pretty close. I think Sarah was like 100 when he was like 120, maybe. I don't think it was that far off. But Sarah, I forget how old Sarah was when she died. I can scroll back quick.
120, like 6 or something.
Yeah. Oh, you were pretty close. Yeah. 23, it says she was 127 years old. And then we find out Abraham lived out to be 175. So Abraham got up there a little bit. So he was one of those older living people. He might have aged a little bit more like fine wine. Probably. So, yeah, he took on Keturah and had a handful of kids. And he probably did this in God's name. He was like, yep, God promised me more kids or descend. He probably thought they would be first descendants. He's like, he promised me more descendants than our sand, so I better start getting at it. So, the Bible only gives us the relevant information. So these kids they'll probably pop up in the future of some tribes or land or whatever. So they mentioned them here, but I expect, like you said, he was probably getting around. Had a handful of concubines, not just this one. So cool guy Abraham, cool guy of the week. Got his those descendants, and a lot of this was genealogy. So we'll see how that becomes important in the future.
Yeah.
And then verse 5, it says, Abraham gave all that he had to Isaac. But Abraham gave gifts to the son of the concubine which Abraham had. And while he was still living, he sent them eastward away from Isaac, his son, to the country of the east. So Abraham knew he was going to croak soon. He's like, so I guess he had his will or whatever. He already knew he was giving all the land and Isaac all, the power that he had. He was inheriting all of that. But Abraham, being cool guy of the week, gave a bunch of gifts. I'm assuming, gold and donkeys and servants to the concubines people because, he's got it to give. He may as well.
Sweet. Super sweet. Because none of them were his wives or anything, but he still cared for them and stuff, which is really nice.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, stepkids get it. So, verse 7. Yeah, we find that Abraham was 175. He breathed his last and died in good old age. An old man and full of years, was gathered to his people. What a nice verse 8 is. I was like, that just feels hearty. I hope someone says that when I die.
Too.
Yeah. An old man and full of years, gathered under his people.
So many years.
So
He's
many.
old as dirt. He was a good old as dirt, though. Aged good. Hardy.
Yeah, the old man jokes aren't going to stop.
They're going to get so much worse.
Yeah. So Abraham kept a tight group of people. It's pretty clear that the people he loved, he kept close. So we know the whole deal with Hagar and Ishmael. Unfortunately, Sarah was wearing a little jelly and had to kick him to the curb. But Abraham did his best to hook them up, sent them on their way, and it shows that Abraham did still have some meaning in Ishmael's life, because he came together with Isaac and they buried him in the same tomb that Sarah was buried in. So it's showing pretty well now that it was a good idea to buy that cave, because if he didn't, then who knows who would have had it, when he died, and now his sons can bury him there and start the whole thing.
Not have to worry about it and whatever.
Yeah, it's probably going to end up turning into that cemetery we went to in Galloway, New Jersey, where everyone's last name was Leeds, or
literally.
There was 2 families in the whole cemetery, and it spanned 200 to 300 years. It's what the heck is going on here?
I forgot that we did that. That was really cool.
Yeah, kids, if you're struggling to find date ideas, you should totally take your girlfriend of 1 month to a cemetery in the cold.
Yeah, in middle of nowhere.
Yeah, in the middle of Jersey Devil territory.
Yeah.
That was cool though.
Yeah, we had fun.
Yeah, so he's starting up his little cemetery system. Then, after Abraham died, God blessed Isaac, and Isaac dwelt at Beer Lahai Roi. And then we get into more genealogy. So the descendants of Ishmael and Isaac. So we already know that God is going to bless the lineage of Isaac with the promise of the land of Canaan, and all of the descendants, blah, blah, blah. But it still shows you both descendants of Ishmael and Isaac, because they're both Abraham's descendants. So there's probably going to be some conflict or some interesting stories to come from that. So they give you the drop down there, all the kids. And I think they only mention the sons.
Yeah. Do they usually do that?
I don't know.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think
Oh,
it's
good.
a. They don't always, but it usually goes by the men. As you follow the men's lineage, how does this make sense, right? So, the man has a kid with a woman. You don't know if the kid's actually the man's or not, right?
Well, the man's because like you're gonna marry your daughter off, and she's gonna have the last name of whoever, and that's his
Well, yeah, I mean
limit.
that's assuming that the woman was faithful.
I guess so. You would think in this time that they were.
I don't know. This is a time of concubines, but I feel
For
like in this day and age, like you get stoned for being a hoe,
yeah.
as you should.
If you're someone's wife, like if you're someone's wife, you definitely get like dragged, like
But
you're
it's
getting
not to
dragged
say
by the
it's
family.
not to say it didn't happen either,
Well, that's true. Yeah.
right? So yeah, following the lineage of the sons, I don't know how wise that is, but I mean, this is God's word, so we know it is what it is. It's got to be true.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's interesting. You can tell I've been watching a lot of red pill short clips on YouTube.
No, I couldn't tell.
These unfaithful women, you can't even track whose kids they are. She's been with 30 different dudes after you. You don't even know if that's your kid.
I'm fucking screaming. Oh, haram.
Haram!
Haram.
Repent. So, these are the years of Ishmael, 137. He died, ripe old age. He breathed his last breath and was gathered to his people. Ishmael, cool guy, didn't have the best hand dealt to him, but still lived a nice old age, was with his good people, and had a bunch of kids. So everything worked out there, even though it didn't look too great. They dwelt from Havilah as far as Shur, which is east of Egypt, as you go toward Assyria, giving you a location of where his people were. Then they give you Isaac's genealogy. Took Rebecca, and it looked like Rebecca had problems conceiving. Or no. Now, Isaac
Yeah,
pleaded with
she
the
was
Lord's wife
barren.
because she was barren. Yeah, so I guess they're having a hard time. She was just taking loads and nothing happening.
I was
And
wondering when I read that if like God had done that, like since Isaac was like the one that God had promised to Abraham, like what if he had given him like the same challenge that, was Sarah and Abraham had to like test his faithfulness.
you're right. Yeah, I wonder if Abraham was a stoic man, like how he raised Isaac, right? Was he super involved in like giving him life lessons, showing him how to be a godly man, or I'd assume so. But did he get in the nitty gritty of like, me and your mom back in the day were having some problems. You notice, we're some geezers uh, before we had you. There's a reason. I wonder if he explained all of that to Isaac to help him, you know, learn from his dad's struggles to put faith in God. Um,
Yeah.
because that's what he did. Rebecca was having a problem conceiving, so he went right to the Lord. And the Lord
Yeah.
granted his plea, and Rebecca conceived. But it says the children struggled together within her. And she said, if all is well, why am I like this? So she went to inquire to the Lord. I wonder what that means exactly. It
Well,
says the children
like
struggled together within her. So is this referring to the twins that she's going to have? Or did she like miscarry a couple times and then now she's going to the Lord and now, everything works out?
it's like this is just my opinion, but I think this is regarding like the twins inside her because like there's no way she knew there was two babies inside her because they didn't have technology.
Didn't have
So it was
ultrasound, but I'd imagine like if something kicks on your right side and something kicks on your left side, it's like, is this baby just doing, a split
big.
kicking away? I mean, I'm sure
Yeah.
they could probably figure it out. Like this, she's a lot bigger than expected when she's pregnant.
Well, yeah, I mean, some women just get really big too. So I mean, it's hard to say,
It's
but I
because they're
think it's
reading for two. Never mind. We're not gonna. I'm not gonna start berating some bovines, but
yo.
but yeah, she did the same thing. She was going through some issues, and she went right to the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
And the Lord explained it in the most confusing way possible. So, this is probably meaning she was having twins and they were like tussling around. And he tells her, 2 nations are in your womb. 2 people shall be separated from your body. 1 people shall be stronger than the other, and the older shall serve the younger. It's like, thanks for the riddle, Lord, but like my belly hurts.
Yeah.
So obviously, this is a bit of prophecy. These 2 kids are both going to start their own nations. And it says 2 peoples shall be separated from your body. So there are going to be 2 groups of people. So again, further explaining, like not only these 2 people are going to start two new nations, they're going to start 2 new peoples following them. And it says 1 people shall be stronger than the other, and the older shall serve the younger.
We can see that there's gonna be some trouble here in years to come.
Well, that's where I don't think it's clear yet here. It says the older shall serve the younger. So they may work cohesively, but one will be stronger. So the older one could be stronger and it could be, helping the younger one out, or the younger one's stronger and, whatever. So there's some possibilities there. But he's explaining to her, like, look, these are going to be 2 very important people coming out of you. They're going to start 2 new peoples, 2 nations, etc. So her days were fulfilled for her to give birth. Indeed, there were twins in her womb. So, yeah, I guess they didn't know. It says, indeed, there were twins in her womb. So they probably heard him say that and were like, does that mean there's 2 people? Or are they like, it's like one? So they weren't sure. But indeed, there were twins. And first came out
I've
red.
never heard of that, too.
Yeah, this is in the first came out red. So I thought he split her open, but the next verse says he was like a hairy garment all over. So they called his name Esau. So I imagine he's just a hairy redhead kid.
Carrot.
Yeah. What does
Bill.
Esau mean? Do you know what Esau? It says, so they called his name Esau.
Let me look it up.
Yeah. Yeah, and after Esau came out, it says his brother did, and his hand took hold of Esau's heel. So his name was called Jacob.
Oh. Esau means hairy.
And what does Jacob mean? Like grab the foot?
Yes, actually, I looked that up earlier. That is what that means.
That's so funny. And these guys named Jacob. That's where the foot fetishes come from. Good?
You frozen? Oh, I thought you were frozen.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm good.
So yeah, their creativity with names was pretty spot on. So Isaac, who was the one who laughs, didn't have kids until he was 60 years old. So yeah, he had to wait a bit too. If someone has kids and they're 60 years old now, like mistakes were made.
Yeah, and you're dead by the time. No hate.
So the boys grew, and Esau was a skillful hunter, a man of the field, but Jacob was a mild man, dwelling in tents. And Isaac loved Esau because he ate of his game, but Rebekah loved Jacob. Ooh, picking favorites.
Mm-hmm.
So in the previous verse, in God's prophecy, and it said, the older shall serve the younger. Esau's the older one, popped out first.
Mm-hmm.
And Esau, being such a good hunter, is feeding Jacob. So this is happening when they're young, I'm assuming. And it's going, that relationship is probably going to carry on as time goes on and their two nations develop. And it says, and Isaac loved Esau, but Rebekah loved Jacob. So I'd be curious what the original Hebrew of this is, these words loved. I know there are different meanings. And English is a terrible language, so you don't really get the context here. Like, is Isaac loving Esau in like a brotherly way, or is it like a deep family kind of love? And then like, what is the love Rebekah's using on Jacob? This is isn't super clear. Does Rebekah not love Esau?
I think it's like, I mean, again, just my opinion. Like, it's just like a favorable, in a favorable kind of way. Like, you probably like, he eats of his game, so he's probably like this like stoic, like manly. He's hunting, and like Isaac likes that. Whereas, Jacob, it says that he dwells in his tents, and like he's probably like a homebody, like more like his mom. I don't know. Just a thought.
Yeah, it's just Jacob's more of a mild man. I don't know. Yeah, you see this character trait. I would think naturally it's flip-flopped, right? Because Freudian logic would tell us that maybe the mom would like the manlier boy, the more aggressive one, and the dad would like.
I think it's more the son, where the Oedipus thing comes in, like the son's feelings.
Oedipus, that's the male dominance complex.
That's where the boy, like, his mom's his first love, and he's like, oh, I want to kill my dad because I love my mom.
Oh, yeah, I had some of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd think that, Esau would have some of that going on. But yeah, I guess there's more of a relationship between the kid and the parent than the parent to the kid. Yeah, Rebekah probably loves Jacob because he's a lot easier to handle.
Yeah.
Don't have to chase that kid around the house with a bat.
Right.
Yeah, and then Isaac can probably assimilate with Esau, both being, dominant men.
Yeah. Exactly.
Then we jump into verse 29. This one's titled Esau Sells His Birthright. Do you know what a birthright is?
Yes, I have it written down, actually. So the firstborn's rights gave the firstborn son special privileges, entitled to a double share of the father's property, along with probably some other things, but most importantly is the property.
Yeah, it's kind of what I thought. He had entitlement in the will type of deal.
Mm-hmm.
Firstborn gang. Yeah, you wouldn't know. Middle kid. Haram! So, how does this fall down? Jacob's cooked a stew. Esau came in from the field, and he was all beat up and tired. He was out there working. Esau is like, give me some of that red stew for your favorite redhead brother. And it says, therefore his name was called Edom. So
Get that? Like, what, did they rename him?
Change his name? I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, Esau's still his name, but it's like Edom his nickname.
Maybe.
What does Edom mean? It probably means like hungry man.
Yeah, literally. Okay.
Type of ham-handed.
Red.
Red?
Yeah.
Okay, whatever. Red stew. Yeah, the red head with the red stew. It's like, all right. So Jacob, his barter in this, if you want some of my stew, some of your birthright today. And Esau was like, look, I'm about to die. So what do I care? It's birthright. How old are they? What is What is the
Could
context here?
be- I feel like they got to be like teenagers.
They're still living in the same household, but I don't know the cultural context behind that. Is it
Yeah.
like, do family members still live in the same household until they marry? Like, so they could be like 20, 30, whatever. Just like
Just,
group mindset. Because I feel like that's in the Jewish culture now, where like
hmm
the Jews have such a tight knit community where they just like all stay together regardless of like their age. They don't go far. So I mean, they could be older and their 20s or whatever, but they could be kids.
See, like it goes from their birth is right up here, and then like it goes jumps right here, and like obviously that can be a bunch of years, but I feel like they're probably just because of like how reckless like this whole thing is. I feel like they're not adults, like they're young adults probably.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. It seems like his ability to discern how important this is or how valuable it's going to be isn't that important. He's valuing the stew over his inheritance down the road. Now he says, "Look, I am about to die." So is he referencing that he's so tired from working out in the fields? Like, look, I'm about to
Yeah,
die. Just like
that's
give me some
what I think.
soup.
He's like hungry and tired, so that's why like even there, it's like even if he thought that Esau like was joking, like he still shouldn't like you shouldn't joke about like your birthright. 'Cause obviously, it's an important thing in this time, and it's like you don't just joke about giving it up for stew.
Yeah, but I mean, kids are idiots. Like if you if I was like 14 and I knew like I was gonna inherit everything my parents had, and my brother was like, "Hey Joe, I'll give you this Xbox if you just give me, your inheritance." I'd be like, "What do they have anyway? Like, might as well just give me the Xbox now, right?" My
I
ability to
guess.
delay gratification was never great, so is yeah, it's probably what happened. So Jacob gave Esau bread and the soup, and they drank, and he went his way, and thus Esau despised his birthright.
He
So,
didn't hold it with the value that it was worth.
yep,
Poor man is gonna come back and bite him in the tuchus.
I suspect so. Um, yes. Yeah, at least from what I know already, Jacob's going to be the one that starts the nation of Israel, and Esau is not. So Jacob really is the one that's getting Abraham's land. So
Is this really familiar to the beginning of Genesis with Abel and Canaan?
Cain and Abel,
Cain and Abel?
mildly, the one brother was good at hunting, and the other one was, nicer.
They're kind of at odds with each other though too, like this. Like there's some cool connections.
Yeah, there's brothers in multiple parts of the Bible. You
Yes,
see that
Jack.
you see that in the New Testament too. I forget where. It may not actually be in
Probably.
the New Testament. I might be conflating that TV show that the Chosen that we watched the first couple episodes, and the two like brothers. I forget even who was supposed to be who. Like they all kind of look the same, and all their names are like not really memorable.
A
So
couple episodes.
yeah. So Elizabeth, what can we take away from this?
Um, hmm. I think that what we can take away from this is how good of a father Abraham was, and also his brother, because his brother's son, because of Rebecca, because they're two very faithful followers of the Lord. They never questioned what he could do for them, not even once, and they just believed in it. And now we're kind of getting into this little story of some sibling rivalry, and we'll see what that takes us. But I think that just the small parts in here where we're talking about Isaac and Rebecca, you can really see um, Abraham shine through, and Sarah too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think the family value is the most important. Yeah, seeing how Abraham's family kind of stuck together all the way up until he died. This weird amalgamation of people, all the concubines and all the kids, still kind of got along, and Abraham took care of them. So his character is something to kind of model after, especially the concubine part. Make sure you get a couple of those.
Your wife's rotted out.
Yeah.
Just so you know, ladies, Joe thinks that's around 25. So if you're 25 and watching this, don't even hurry up because you're already done.
Yeah, once you hit the age of 25 as a woman, it's downhill from there. Like there's your value is just diminishing. I don't know what I'm gonna tell you. It's biblical. No, it's not. Forgive me. Any hoozles.
Any hoozles.
That was episode 8. Wrapped it up.
You know what? We ate episode 8.
Yeah.
Yeah. Been a long week.